Hi guys, welcome to a new video, and today we are back with Aviation Phraseology. Today we are back to Faro Airport, but not in the position of ground or tower. Today we are going to study the position of approach, okay? So we are going to study four main topics. So what happens after departure? What happens if a plane is leaving Faro Airspace? And we will understand what happens if a pilot does a readback incorrect. Okay, so how the air traffic controller will correct him. Then we will see some audios about instructions to descend to the airport for the approach. And in the final, we will see the topic number 4, which is the transition from the controller in approach to the controller in tower. Okay, it's just this. We will listen to pre-recorded audios and we will try to study and understand this together. If you understand it more than me, or if you have questions, please comment. Let's understand it together. So let's go for the first audio. Actually, there are two audios about the topic after departure, and let's try to understand them. Okay, see you in a bit.
And departure, good afternoon. Falcon November 81 Hotel Mike, leaving 4000 for 1010,000.
November 81 Hotel Mike, Faro Approach, good day, identified, continue, climb to flight level 220.
220, Falcon November 81 Hotel Mike. Faro Approach, boa tarde, and 6 Bravo Mike, passing 1800, climb flight level 100, from taxi departure.
Runner 6 Bravo Mike, Faro Approach, boa tarde, identified, continue, climb to flight level 240.
Continue, climb flight level 240, Runner 6 Bravo Mike.
So guys, as you can see, these situations are very similar. Basically, the only thing that it's different is the fact that we are talking about a Falcon, a private jet, that it's a bit more higher than the Ryanair, that it's in 1,000 feet. So in this case, what happens is that the pilot take off and he just contact the tower, in this case, the Faro Approach, okay? And then Faro Approach will identify the aircraft. So, okay, now I see you in my radar. So what Faro Approach says is November 8 Hotel Mike, Faro Approach, good day, identified, so I can see you in my radar, continue to climb to flight level 220. So I think it depends from the flight plan of the aircraft, and basically the controller is just saying to him to climb to a certain altitude. And obviously further they will leave the Faro airspace and they will go to another air traffic controller. So now we will go for the next audios.
Lufthansa 48 Hotel, contact Sevilla Control 135.025, over.
134.025,
135.025.
135.025,
Talking about the second topic, leaving Faro airspace. So in this case, actually, it happened a mistake. The pilot didn't understand the air traffic controller that was in approach, but basically this happens a lot of times, and it's normal. But it's very important to correct the pilot and do the readback correct. So what happens here is that the Lufthansa is leaving Faro airspace, is going to Sevilla airspace. So the air traffic controller just says Lufthansa 48 Hotel, contact Sevilla Control 135.025, bye bye. And the pilot says 134.025, and that's wrong, okay? It was 135. So the Faro Approach controller just says with heavy emphasis 135.025. And then the pilot do the readback, so he says it again, but this time it was perfect, and the air traffic controller doesn't need to say nothing because it's already correct. And here, silence is the key, okay? So when there are silence, it's because it's correct. And if it's not correct, the air traffic controller will say it. Here, the only thing that could be different, it's from the air traffic controller. Sometimes they say negative 135, but this time it just said the frequency with heavy emphasis because maybe they are just saving every millisecond on the call. So let's go for the next audio and see you in a bit.
Lufthansa 02 Tango, continue descent, flight level 80. Lufthansa 02 tank, continue descent to 4,000 feet, QNH 1013.
So guys, after we listen to these audios, I think there's two main things that I need to explain to you. And that things are the transition altitude and the transition level. So, the transition altitude is a fixed published altitude. And at this altitude or below, the aircraft should use the local QNH. So use the Faro Airport QNH that is available. And the vertical position is reported as feet. So in this case, 4,000 feet. In the other hand, the transition level is the lowest usable flight level above the transition altitude. So at this altitude or above, the aircraft should use the standard altimeter pressure, and the vertical position is reported as a flight level. So, in recap, when a plane is descending for the approach in Faro, the pilot needs to change from the standard altimeter pressure to the local QNH, and it was exactly what happened here. And just one more thing. In Faro, when the QNH is 1013, the transition level is flight level 55. And the transition altitude is 4,000 feet. What happened in the first audio was that the Lufthansa should continue descent to flight level 80. There's no problem, it's still not in the flight level 55. And then the ATC said Lufthansa continue descent to 4,000 feet, QNH 1013. So basically now he wants to go for the transition altitude of Faro, and he gave the local QNH. So basically he went from the standard QNH, so the standard pressure, for the pressure of the local. So every airplane is in the same pressure mode, so they can be separated vertically. So basically that's why the air traffic controller gave the QNH at the clearance for 4,000 feet. Let's go for the last audio and see you in a bit.
Shamrock 49 Juliet, contact tower 120.755, bye bye.
120.755, Shamrock 49 Juliet, yeah.
So guys, in this audio it was very simple. Basically the descending process was already done from the Faro Approach position, and now the airplane is already aligned with the runway 28 in Faro Airport, so the approach will just send the pilot to contact tower. So right now the airplane will contact tower at 120.755 and it will receive the clearance for landing. And it's basically just this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was short, but I prefer short and with a lot of information than like very big and boring. So I hope you liked, and I see you in the next video. Probably me controlling in VATSIM. Let's see, I hope so. So see you in a bit, and bye bye.